Am I the a-hole for announcing my sister's pregnancy after finding out my boyfriend, now ex, is the father? I, 19 female, was with my ex-boyfriend, 19 male, until just a couple of weeks ago when I found out he got my sister, 18 female, pregnant. The way I found out was by accident. I overheard them talking about it. My sister was panicking and freaking out because she knew if I ever found out, I would be done with her. My ex, on the other hand, seemed completely unbothered. He didn't care that he had betrayed me, and he didn't care about the fallout it would cause in our family. Hearing that conversation shattered me, but I decided not to explode right away. Instead, I held it in, kept my cool, and waited until the right moment. That moment came when we were with our family. I announced the news to everyone there in front of both of them. My boyfriend immediately ran off once he realized I was going to break up with him, and my sister had a full breakdown. She started crying, begging me not to hate her, and saying she made a mistake. She told me she would have an abortion if that would fix things between us, and she begged for us to go back to the way things were. For context, she had been living with me since April because she and our parents weren't getting along. We had been planning to move somewhere bigger in a few weeks, and she was supposed to come with me. After this betrayal, I told her that wasn't happening anymore. From that day on, I refused to live with her. I packed up and started staying with a friend. Now without me, she can't afford to live in the apartment. Our parents still don't want her back in their house, and I'm not stepping in to help her. My ex has completely bailed as well. He's refusing to take any responsibility for the mess he helped create, so she's basically on her own. Since everything came out, my sister has been trying to make amends. She's reached out, trying to talk and fix things, but I haven't acknowledged her attempts. I won't. To me, that relationship is over. She crossed a line I can never forgive, and I don't see myself ever trusting her again. I honestly don't know where she's staying now. One of our aunts got involved recently, though. She told me that what I did was disgusting, that I had ruined my sister's life by throwing her out when she's just a kid, and that I should have handled things privately. She said I was heartless for humiliating her and leaving her without a place to live. I told my aunt to pick up the pieces if she was so concerned and to leave me alone because I don't care anymore. I said my sister had it coming the moment she started sleeping with my boyfriend. My aunt pushed back, saying I was letting a guy come between my sister and me and that it was nasty business. She asked me if I could live with myself if my sister ends up having the baby and ends up on the streets. My answer was simple. It's nothing to do with me anymore. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to forgive my sister and cutting her off completely after what she did? Now for the top comments. I don't think people realize how brutal it is to be cheated on with a sibling. She ruined her own life the second she decided to sleep with your boyfriend and try to hide it. She knew exactly what she was doing and chose to gamble with your trust. You don't owe her a roof, forgiveness, or a relationship. People really don't get it as much as they should. Anyone with siblings should put themselves in the shoes of the person cheated on and see if they'd still love and care about their sibling. No, I completely agree with you. I have a sister, and close or not, I could never imagine myself sleeping with her partner, no matter if it's her ex, boyfriend, husband, or even a crush. That's disgusting, and that's on her. Definitely not the a-hole. Letting her back into your life is like asking for it to happen again, or worse, saying it's all right what they did. Do you, boo, and let her figure it out. That's how I feel. Like, why should she be let off the hook for what she did? She made her own choices. Not the a-hole. She can live with your aunt and sleep with her husband. You didn't go no contact and, for all intents and purposes, no longer have a sister because of a cry. You did it because she betrayed you. She made her bed. She can lie in it. And your ex is spineless trash. Make sure everyone knows what they did. Go no contact with your aunt as well. Make sure you pack up and move all of your things out before your sister steals from you. They're already moved out. I got back there before she could and made sure she wasn't doing anything else she shouldn't. I don't have a lot of stuff right now, which helped a ton. Next story. Am I the a-hole for rejecting my dad's efforts to stay in my life after he cheated on my mom and moved in with his pregnant other woman? My parents separated last year after my mom found out my dad had been cheating on her with a woman he worked with. He got her pregnant, and he found out that's when mom learned he was cheating. She broke up with dad and filed for divorce. Dad moved into an apartment with the other woman. He tried to set up chances for me to meet her and spend weeks or weekends with them, but I wanted to stay where I was, and I didn't want to see him with her. Like, WTF. Why would I want to meet the other woman? Dad told me he hadn't wanted any of this to hurt me, but he fell out of love with mom and always intended to leave her when I turned 18 and moved out. He said that the affair was to help him survive the last few years of being with mom. I told him they were weak-ass reasons, and he told me I was too young to understand, but he only married mom because she got pregnant with me, and then she never gave him other kids and their intimate life was awful. I asked him what the heck was wrong with him, telling me something like that. At the time, he was like, "Oh, you're 17 now, so you're old enough to know this kind of thing." And I told him it was way too much info to say to his son. He told me he'd be brutally honest with me, even if it was TMI, to save our relationship. I told him that to save our relationship, he'd have to undo the affair and making another baby. Dad showed up outside my school every Friday, trying to take me out to lunch or trying to take me to meet his other woman. After the other woman gave birth, he showed up with the baby and tried to introduce me to her, but I ignored him and would text him that I would not be the involved big brother to his affair kid, and he couldn't make me meet them for real. The divorce was finalized 3 months ago, and my dad immediately married the other woman. I was invited and didn't go. Then he announced that she was pregnant again, and he told me we're officially family now, and I should meet her and their daughter, and actually join in the family. He said he loved and missed me and didn't want to lose me, and he could show me that none of this had to end our relationship, and we could all be happy. I told him that his actions made me see him differently, that he lost my respect when he cheated and knocked someone else up. I pointed out how I'm 18 now, and just like he was ready to leave mom when I turned 18, I was ready to leave him and legally could. Then I asked him to leave me alone and told him I wasn't going to give in, because I don't want to be a part of his affair family. He gave me a couple of weeks to come crawling back before he was like, "Please don't give up on us," and stuff like that. When I didn't reply, I got a call from my grandma, and she was asking me why I was giving up on my dad and why I'd pass up the chance for siblings. She said even imperfect parents can be important for us, and to imagine how I'll feel in 30 years when I miss the chance to say goodbye to dad and don't know my only siblings. I told her I really didn't care, because his affair kids will never be real siblings in my eyes, and I feel like I already said my goodbyes to dad. I had nothing else left to say. She said that was disappointing, but also a very 18-year-old way to look at things. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your dad is. You are not required to do anything you do not want to do with him, his affair partner, and your half-siblings. If he forces the issue, you can always ask him, in front of her, if he told her she was just supposed to be a temporary bang buddy until the divorce, but he apparently never learned how condoms work and got baby-trapped again, then walk away. I still haven't really met her, so I really don't want to do that just for a moment like that. But I might say it in front of other people, and it might embarrass him enough to leave me alone. Had your dad been adult enough to be honest with his feelings, perhaps you could still have had a relationship. But no, he claims your mom baby-trapped him, but isn't that exactly what this new affair has done as well? Doesn't sound like the brightest crayon. Better for your dad to accept that actions have consequences, not the a-hole. He didn't even say mom baby-trapped him, just that he stayed for me because he wanted to be a full-time dad. Kinda hard to buy that when he was out screwing some woman when he could have been doing stuff with me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for bringing up how much trauma it causes to be hated by siblings for being affair babies? Me, 20 female, and my sister, 19, have half-siblings from our mom's first marriage to her late husband. When her late husband was terminally ill, she started an affair with our dad, and her kids found out about it. I was born 2 years after mom's first husband died, but in the eyes of my older siblings, me and my sister were affair babies, and they hated us for it. They told us every chance they got that we were disgusting and never should have been born, and that our mom and dad were disgusting whores. When my parents' marriage broke down when I was in middle school, my mom's older kids celebrated, and they told us they were glad our lives were turned upside down too, and that me and my sister didn't get a better life than them. They said we didn't deserve it and that they hoped we'd end up orphans because they would let us rot in foster care. We did lose our dad 3 years after the divorce, and mom became an alcoholic. That was something else my older siblings cheered about. They loved that mom was ruining her life. That was the last contact we had with them, but they were all completely grown and married by then. We were having a dinner party with my paternal family and my boyfriend and his immediate family. During dinner, a couple of my relatives asked me and my sister if we had tried to reach out to our older siblings recently and suggested that it would be good for us. My sister left the table in tears, and I told those relatives it wasn't a good idea. They tried to convince me it would be, and that enough time had passed for feelings to change. But I pointed out that it's a trauma for me and my sister with how strongly we were rejected and hated for being affair babies, which had nothing to do with us. I said we weren't even born during the affair period, but we'd never be anything more. And since our older siblings celebrated our lives becoming difficult multiple times when they were already adults, I didn't think it would be positive to have them in our lives. My boyfriend's family felt so bad for me being pressured like that. But one of the relatives involved doubled down and said it wasn't the kind of topic you discuss in company. By the topic, they meant the trauma of being called affair babies and hated for it. They said it's also not fair to push that emotional burden on people trying to help me and my sister. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It's not the kind of topic you discuss in company. I agree. So what did you bring it up at dinner with guests present for, Betty? It's kind of funny that they brought it up first, but I'm the one who pushed it into inappropriate for company talk. Not the a-hole, but I'm confused why your dad, the original affair partner in this story's family, wants you to reconnect with people who hated your dad as much as they hated you too. I mean, you didn't say specifically that the older siblings hated him, but I can only imagine, if they were spitting that much vitriol at small children, what they were saying to the two people who actually were at fault for cheating. So why would your family, who are no relation to those older siblings, push you to reconnect with them, especially knowing how horrible they have been to you? Not the a-hole. Also, your fiancé's family deserve to know the truth about your family. They have a big thing about blood ties, so the fact my older siblings are blood-related matters a lot to some of Dad's side. Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling my aunt selfish and telling her she can't just offload her parental responsibility on me? My aunt and her 4-year-old daughter came down yesterday and will be staying with us for the rest of the week. I love spending time with my little cousin and aunt, but my aunt was putting everything on me, and eventually I said enough is enough. The first incident was when we were all sitting at the table talking, and my cousin, let's call her Eve, said she was hungry, which my aunt instantly replied, "Oh, Amy will make you lunch." Will I? So I ended up making lunch for her, and then my aunt wanted food, so I ended up making it for everyone. Skip a few hours, Eve needed the toilet, and my aunt told her I would take her, which I thought was a bit unfair, but I just did it to keep the peace. Then it turned out I had to take her another 2 times that evening and keep her entertained so my mom and aunt could have some sister time. Then it turned out that my aunt was having the spare room bed to herself, and Eve was sleeping with me, which my aunt dropped on me just before going to bed. She told Eve that if she needed the toilet in the night, I'd take her, and she could sleep with me for the week. Bit unfair to sign me up for that, I thought, but my mom told me to just keep the peace and put up with it, so I had to dig out some old pajamas that I could wear while she was in bed with me. I had to take her to the toilet in the night and clean her up, which honestly made me feel ill. I was then asked to get her washed and dressed the next day and entertain her for hours while my aunt went out, and I was signed up for making food for everyone again. By this point, I was super tired because I had broken sleep and had spent all my time and energy on Eve, which I don't mind because I love her, but at the same time, I was basically being her mom so my aunt could have a mini holiday. The final straw for me was when I ran my bath and told everyone that I was having a bath and that I'd be a little while. My aunt instantly shouted for Eve and told her she was getting in the bath with me. What the heck? I kinda snapped. and told her that just because she was staying with us didn't mean she could offload all her parental responsibility on me, so she could get drunk every night and do what she wanted. We got into a bit of a heated discussion. My mom got super angry at me, and I was basically forced into taking Eve into the bath with me and washing her. It's like my privacy has just vanished, and instead of my mom sticking up for me, she sides with my aunt. I've now been told I can't go out tomorrow until I apologize to my aunt for what I said, but I don't think I've done anything wrong, or at least anything unjustified. Maybe I am the one in the wrong, but I don't see how dumping all your responsibilities on an 18-year-old so you can get drunk and mess around every night is fair. It's her kid. She needs to take care of it, not the a-hole. It's fine to ask for help, but demanding it or just saying you will do it is wrong. Completely invading my privacy and time and then getting angry when I complain? Make it make sense. You are 18. Why are you taking orders from your mom? Go out, stay with a friend. Not the a-hole. Is your mom the kind to kick you out of the house if you refuse? If yes, then suck it up if you don't have the funds yet to be independent. If no, then either refuse and stay or better yet, refuse and leave. Each day, for the rest of their visit, whatever, but don't be around except minimally. If you leave for the week though, be prepared for your aunt to take revenge on you by having your cousin sleep and piss in your bed. My mom won't kick me out. I'm honestly surprised and kinda hurt she hasn't sided with me on this. She basically has said I can't go out or stay with my friends until I apologize to my aunt, but I don't feel like I should have to apologize. I agree you shouldn't have to, but apologizing and then leaving for a friend's house for a few days seems to be your best option here, even though it is unfair. Yeah, I suppose. It's a bit humiliating though, almost being forced out of my own home. But it's such a crappy situation, especially the bath thing. Being forced to have her in with me was a complete invasion of my privacy, and having to deal with her questions left me mortified I wanted to die. Am I the a-hole for being upset with my sister for wanting to skip my wedding because of her miscarriage? I, female 28, am getting married next week. Invitations are out, wedding planning was complete, and everything is going according to plan. However, my sister, female 31, just had a miscarriage, and mom told me that she told her she decided not to come to the wedding. I was dumbfounded, so I called my sister to talk about it, and she said she is exhausted and doesn't feel like attending. I told her that this is my wedding, not some family dinner she and her husband decided to skip. She apologized, hoping that I'd understand, but I said that I don't, because I really don't understand. What does her miscarriage has to do with being at my wedding? It's not like she gave birth and needed to stay with a baby. She must have had me on speaker because her husband heard and started scolding me about how this is a traumatic experience that my sister just went through, and said that I was insensitive to talk to her like that. I asked him to stay out of it, but he started arguing, telling me to respect my sister's wish and respect that they're grieving. I insisted to let me talk to her, but he said we were done talking. I ended up losing my temper with him, and he told me, F you and your wedding, then hung up. My fiancé was in the room and heard him say that. He wanted to uninvite him and my sister over this instantly, but I didn't let him. I called mom and she promised to speak to my sister and convinced her to come. My dad called me later on and started berating me about harassing my sister and told me to leave her alone. I asked him if my brother-in-law told him about our fight, but he got defensive and told me to get off both my sister's and her husband's back and drop it. I told him how upset and hurt I was that my sister decided to skip my wedding, and how little she thought of it. He replied that my sister has a valid reason and I was coming across and feeling and selfish not to see that, and lash out over her missing a party. This is not a party. That's my wedding. It matters to me. I was there for hers. Why can't she do the same and show up for a few hours? Dad said he won't tell me again to leave my sister alone. It urged me to stop bringing it up and gang up with mom to get my sister to go. But I wasn't doing that. Long story short, tension has been taking over since then. Mom thinks that a calm discussion will do, but I feel like my feelings are ignored and misunderstood, especially for my sister. Edited to add, I love my sister. I get her struggle, but I wanted her there because I care about her. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. You have no idea what it's like to be carrying life and hope inside your body, then to lose all that to forces outside of your control. People need time to collect their composure and grieve. The world doesn't revolve around you, and you're certainly not a person worth gravitating towards. F your wedding. This 100%. I can't believe she said it's not like you have a baby to stay home and take care of. Just wow. Yes, that was pouring salt in an open, gaping wound. Your baby's dead, so you're free, right? What's the big deal? You're the a-hole for having this attitude. I know those weren't your words, but it's an accurate paraphrase. You could easily have said, I understand that you are hurting right now, but I would really appreciate it if you would still come to the ceremony. You don't even have to stay for the reception, but it would mean a lot to me to have you there. But if the answer is still no, then you're the a-hole for not taking no for an answer. You're the a-hole. It's not like she gave birth and needed to stay with the baby. I refuse to believe you could actually type those words out and somehow still convince yourself you're not a-hole here. Believe it or not, nobody owes you their presence at your wedding, for any reason. The loss of an entire future they'd already started making plans for and investing enormous amounts of emotional capital in is ample cause to say, sorry, we're not up for celebrating right now. Which is really not a thing you would think a human being with a functioning heart or brain would need explained to them. So unless you're gunning for Bridezilla of the decade, which honestly seems like it might be the goal, quit digging and go apologize. Like yesterday. I really hope she didn't say that to her sister. Bad enough to write it here, but if it was said, I would have flipped my crap. You're the a-hole. Miscarriage isn't just a day and it's done. Depending on the age of the pregnancy, she may still be bleeding, may have follow-up doctor's appointments, could require a D&C if the miscarriage is incomplete. It may have been or still be a physically painful process. And that is all without touching on the emotional aspects of a miscarriage. If she is not up to the wedding, then she's not up to it. She is having a stressful medical incident, and that is probably compounded by grief. I feel like my feelings are ignored and misunderstood, especially for my sister. This is ironic, since you have completely failed to empathize with her. If you can't attempt to understand her situation, then best thing would be for you to let it go and not talk with her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my brother my mother's engagement ring even though I agreed in the past? Me 21 female and my brother 25 male have agreed that my mom's engagement ring, 6 women in my family wore it, would be mine until he finds a girl he really wants to propose to. I agreed. Now, he has a girlfriend of 5 years and told me that he's planning to propose and would like the ring back. I immediately told no. And that's because as much as girl likes jewelry, she also likes to lose it. The amount of jewelry she lost is outstanding. I remember getting her very pretty earrings that I made myself, and she lost it like after 2 days. Of course, he got angry. So I told him that if he wants her to have that ring, he needs to give her now a random ring. And if she doesn't lose it until he proposes, he has a specific day planned. I will give it to him. He was annoyed but agreed. And well, guess what? She lost it. To be honest, I don't know how she does it. Well, I decided not to give the ring because it's a very important thing for my family, and said that if he wants to propose, he can buy another ring. I am not letting her lose it. When she finds out, she was also furious because apparently she loved the ring. She promised to keep it saved because she knows how important it is to us. I told her that I will just keep it as my wedding ring if I ever get married. I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb for not giving her a chance. Edit. She knew about the don't lose this first ring and then you will get the heirloom. Not stay home. I think that's a pretty valid concern and reason to not want to lose a family heirloom. Yes, Opie's concerns are valid, but brother wasn't an a-hole for being pissed. The agreement was that he would eventually get the ring for his girlfriend, so Opie is pulling the rug out from under him last minute. Even a girlfriend not an A, as she was obviously promised this ring by both Opie and her boyfriend, and being careless with meaningless costume jewelry doesn't necessarily mean that girlfriend will be careless with a meaningful treasure. There isn't really a good solution, and Opie should probably just keep the ring to be on the safe side, but no a-holes here. This kind of happened in my family. My sister didn't get the heirloom ring and I did. There's some lingering resentment, but my sister is on her 4th engagement ring currently, and I'm right now wearing the heirloom one. It makes sense for everyone to feel the way they did. Make a replica and give it to her. Then if it gets lost again, you're not out much. I don't like this idea at all. Lying will only cause more problems down the road. They might find out if they ever take it to a reputable jeweler for whatever reason. Example, cleaning resizing appraisal. Adobe will be seen as a huge a-hole. Honesty is the best route, and telling them the truth that she is too irresponsible is the best course of action. Not stay home. She loses nothing. Are y'all sure she doesn't sell it? I don't think so. It's not that expensive, to be honest, especially the ones I made myself. And why would she sell the one she bought herself? I think it's more that she loses stuff she doesn't like. I thought the same about the earrings, but she knew the fake ring was a gateway to the heirloom. Unless plot twist, she hates the heirloom as an engagement ring but doesn't want to tell the brother and pretends to be upset. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for hiding my fiancé's ring so she had to wear the one I bought her to see her parents? My fiancé comes from a very wealthy family. She was spoiled growing up as she was the youngest and only girl. Her dad is Persian, and according to her, their culture is very big on displays of wealth and money and jewelry. She has tons of expensive jewelry from her dad and uncles, and lives a pretty lavish life. I am not doing bad, but I'm not rich. I'm currently working as a very low-level developer with a computer company, and I don't quite make software developer money yet. When I proposed to my fiancé, I had to get a ring that wasn't very lavish. Like the ring she's got as a 13-year-old girl for her birthday or better looking. I thought that shouldn't matter as much though, as the ring is the least important part of the engagement. I'm also planning to get her a much better ring when I can afford it. So she accepted, but unbeknownst to me, she hadn't been wearing it, especially around her family. She keeps an engagement ring in her car that she got herself, takes off the ring I got and wears the other ring out. I found this out on a day I had to borrow her car. I put my wallet in a console while going into the gym and saw a ring box. I know I probably shouldn't have opened it, but I did. I was able to recognize it as an engagement ring, and when I got back home, I confronted her. She said that she prefers to wear that one around family because they already are suspicious about me since I'm not rich, and she wanted to protect me from any judgment. She said that if anyone from her family saw the ring I got, they'd think I wouldn't be good enough for her. I told her I didn't care, and it made me feel bad that she didn't wear my ring. She said that she would start wearing the ring out. Come last weekend, we have a dinner. She says she has to wear the ring when we see them for my sake. I again told her I didn't care what they thought of me. We argued and she said that she was wearing the ring and that was final. So while she was in the shower, I went down to her car, swapped the rings. I drove her car to her parents' house and she looked in her console and it was my ring. We got into an argument before she finally put it on and we went inside. The night went kinda bad. Her dad grilled us about the new ring, and he said that I should have bought her a better one and laid it into me about it. Her female relatives told her that she might need to reconsider the wedding since I cannot provide. We got into a huge argument when we got home, and she told me that I ruined my reputation in their eyes now. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. I'm going to go with you're the a-hole. Your fiancé isn't materialistic. If she was, she wouldn't be marrying you knowing that you are early in your career and financially not as secure as she is used to. She got the second ring because she was trying to protect you from her family's disapproval. Your own ego wouldn't let that go. Yes, she's trying to save face so her family doesn't disapprove. Why enter the family off on the wrong foot? Is your goal for her family to dislike you? Not saying it's valid, and have her need to defend you all the time? Why make life difficult over a ring? She already said yes and is aware of your financial situation. Are you trying to force her to cut off her family because they'll be talking crap about you? What's your end goal for this? You're the a-hole. She knows her family and wanted to avoid a scene you forced her into. You're planning to buy her a much better ring when you can't afford it anyway, you said. So why are you so hurt by this? Now she really will have to reevaluate marrying you. Also, he may not care what her family thinks of him, but she's going to get the brunt of it, not him. She's going to be the one told he's not good enough.
She definitely should have expressed this issue to him beforehand, but as long as she's only swapping the ring in front of the family, I get where she's coming from. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for making my mother-in-law cry? I, 26 female, and my husband, 26 male, have been together for 8 years and married for 1. We have 2 kids together and just bought a house. My mother-in-law came by to visit the other day when my husband was at work, and my youngest child, 4, was having a full-blown meltdown. My youngest son has mild autism and severe ADHD, and my mother-in-law knows this. Well, my older child, 8, lets her in, and I'm dealing with a toddler in a separate room to calm him down. My mother-in-law comes to me and sits down and starts talking. Well, I get my toddler to calm down, and she looks at me and goes, "It's a good thing you came to your senses and decided not to have any more of those." Now this instantly angered me because I had a lot of complications with my second pregnancy, and I was put under a lot of stress during this pregnancy by my husband's family because they didn't want me to be pregnant. I had my older son at 17 and he was not biologically my husband's. However, my husband has been around and raised him since he was born because his bio dad disappeared. My youngest son was supposed to be a twin, but I lost one early in the pregnancy. And during my whole pregnancy, my in-laws kept pressuring me to get my tubes tied because they didn't think I should have any more kids. Not for the medical reasons I chose to have it done. My in-laws have never liked me or approved of me because they don't like the family I come from. I calmly tell my toddler to go play with brother because I need to talk to his grandma. After he leaves, I look at her and tell her she needs to leave. She gets mad and tells me I have no right to tell her to leave because it's her son's house, not mine, and I am a stay-at-home mom with no income or credit. So only my husband's name is on the loan of the house. I am really pissed now and say, "You are being a vindictive witch. And it's funny that you tell me about how I don't need more children when you only closed up your baby factory after you've had 5 kids because you cared more about having a daughter than being a good mother." Well, she left and then later told my husband a bunch of lies, and he came home and asked me about it. I told him what happened and he believes me because he knows how his mother is. But now she is saying I am horrible and she refuses to come back till I apologize. I said then she just won't come back. But now my husband's whole family is mad at both of us for him taking my side. So am I the a-hole? Edit. This is kind of important. My mother-in-law blames me for my youngest son having autism and ADHD, even though my husband has ADHD, and told my husband that if he had just chosen to breed with good stock and picked someone she approved of, his son wouldn't be messed up. Not stay home. She refuses to come back until you apologize? Congratulations, you just won the game. So she says something rude, you take the high road and ask her to leave. So she says more rude things to which you respond in kind, deservedly so. And now she's making you out to be the bad guy. I'm so tired of these bullies with martyrdom complexes. If you can't take it, don't dish it out. Not stay home and hope that she holds true to her ultimatum of not coming back until you apologize. Not stay home. How delightful that she is punishing you by withholding her company. Excellent outcome. But move in the meantime and leave no forwarding address. I wish it was that easy to move, but it took us over a year just to find this house. Regarding your Reddit, next time she blames you for your youngest, just point out that autism comes from the father's side. Hey everyone, here's an update as of 5 minutes ago because my husband called her this morning after I talked to him some more. He told her until she apologizes to me, she is not welcome in our house or around our kids. She has been removed from the emergency contact and pickup list at both my kids' schools. And that we will not be attending any family holidays. And that we blocked her and the rest of the family in social media so that she can't get updates about the kids or see any pictures of them. Being a teen mom is hard, no discounting that. But having a teenage boy step up to help raise a child that isn't biologically his are all but non-existent. You too clearly have something very special to have withstood hardships from such young ages and still be together. From your post, your husband sounds like a grade A stand-up guy who has your back and will do anything to protect his family.
Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she had no right to make promises on mom's behalf or mine, and all hurt feelings are her fault? A few months ago, my sister found out that our mom had given a baby up for adoption when she was a teenager. She told me and went to confront Mom about never saying anything, but Mom shut down. Our dad told us that Mom had been abused by someone in her family for years, and the pregnancy was a result of that. She wanted a termination, but her family prevented her from getting one. They wanted her to raise the baby, but she didn't even want to touch her and refused all contact in the hospital and said she wanted the baby to be adopted out. Her family tried to stop it, but Mom threatened to reveal who the father was if they made her keep the baby. She was kicked out not long after, and Mom was only 14 when all this happened, so it was deeply traumatic for her and something she still doesn't like talking about. She only told Dad once, and they never talked about it again. That's why Dad told us. My sister told her she was in touch with the person Mom gave up for adoption, that this woman wanted to meet her and ask questions, and wanted to meet us all. Mom said she wouldn't meet this woman and would not answer questions. My sister didn't listen though, and told this woman that Mom had agreed to meet her. She actually went beyond that, and lied and promised that we all wanted her to be a part of the family as a daughter/sister, and that Mom had loved and missed her and thought about her every single day. Then she brought her to the house during a family dinner. Mom fell apart when she realized and locked herself in her bedroom. Dad told my sister she had to leave and had to take her guest with her. Dad went to check on Mom, while I made sure my sister actually left. My sister wanted me to leave with them and go to lunch, and that's when I found out about her promise for a relationship with everyone. I told my sister I wasn't going, and she left super mad at me and at our parents. My mom isn't talking to my sister right now. My dad told my sister she had no right to pull the stunt she did, and my sister keeps trying to pretend I'm on her side when I'm not. She keeps talking about how hurt the woman was, that we didn't want to meet and know her, and that she was treated like a criminal when she isn't to blame for how she was conceived. I told my sister she had no right to make promises on our behalf, and I said all hurt feelings are her fault for lying in the first place. My sister said it should be about how we feel. I said the fact is, it'll never be. I said she can have a relationship with her if she wants, but she can't force Mom into it after everything Mom went through. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I can't help but feel awful after reading this. Your poor mother was ambushed and traumatized all over again. Please talk to your dad to get her some therapy and go low contact with your sister. Mom doesn't want therapy because she doesn't want to talk about her past again. Dad said he has tried suggesting it a few times, but she just isn't interested. So he tries to be there for her when she needs it. For the most part, she does really good. I know we didn't notice anything before, but this will be a huge setback for her, and my sister is too busy worrying about herself and the woman who was adopted. She is not worrying about the adopted woman. She set her up for an unbelievably heartbreaking and completely unnecessary encounter. This was just as cruel to your half-sister as it was to your mother. Yes, this poor woman believed she was connecting with her bio family and not only finds out she's been duped, but that she is the result of rape and incest. Your sister has done an incredibly cruel thing. Not the a-hole. Oh my God, your sister. How disrespectful. I don't even know you, and I'm so angry at your sister right now. Disrespectful, no compassion, liar, clueless, egocentric, so freaking oblivious. How could she have done this to your mother after your father told you the story? I think I would have hit her, and I'm so against violence. I don't get how she could do it to Mom either. I mean, she might have wanted to know about this woman and be family with her, but she knew Mom didn't want to meet her or have a relationship. She knew Mom couldn't even talk about it. Now she's re-traumatized my mom and hurt this other woman who didn't ask for that. Next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my sister-in-law interview me about being a birth mother, knowing my answers wouldn't be exactly what she was looking for? I, 34 female, gave birth to a baby boy when I was 20 and I put him up for adoption. I don't know anything about him and never had any contact with his family or him. This isn't something I keep secret, but I also don't go into the details frequently either. My husband's younger sister, 22 female, became a young mom at 17. She and her boyfriend considered giving their baby up for adoption, but decided to keep their child and raise her. This made sister-in-law passionate about adoption and adoptee rights and birth mother rights. She fell somewhat down the anti-adoption online rabbit hole. Not to say there aren't negatives to the industry, there are, but she's got a lot of wrong ideas. She's also a college student and focuses a lot on adoption for her assignments. She wants to be a social worker who helps people keep their kids, so adoption becomes a thing of the past. I'm the only birth mother she knows well enough to ask for an interview, and when she asked, I said yes. Her questions focus around a few areas, from why I gave my own baby up for adoption to what could have changed it, and did I have any regrets. She also mentioned some studies about skin to skin, and if I could go back, would I have held the baby and given him skin to skin with me? I'll sum up what I told her and answered with, I have 0 regrets about giving the baby up for adoption, and if I had to remake the choice, I would. This was the only good decision for him. For that reason, even though skin to skin has benefits, I would not have held him knowing about those. Had I held him at all, I would have kept him, and his life would not have been good. I was not selfless enough to put him first. He would have been abused by my ex-partner and I would have stayed. He would have been living among drugs, sex, and all sorts of things, with random people coming in and out, and I would have stayed. Keeping him would not have changed that. All it would do is give him more trauma. The person I was back then was not going to change for a baby. I could have been given a free house, free childcare, a job, and all kinds of supports, and I still would have gone back and exposed him. Therapy wouldn't have helped either, because I never would have taken advantage of it really. I told her I went from one abusive household, my parents, to another, my ex, and that I was enjoying being rebellious and pissing my parents off. That my ex was everything they hated, and they were everything I hated, so I clung to my ex. And because the baby wasn't his, he was never going to accept him. I told her, looking back at me then, and knowing how innocent that precious little boy was, I would have been a monster for keeping him. I told her even back then I knew I wasn't going to sacrifice like that for him. I told her loving and wanting him wasn't enough, because I wouldn't have given him a good life. Sister-in-law argued with me on the point of resources. She said I have no way of knowing if I would have made a better life for us if they were offered. I told her I do know. I told her I know that 20-year-old me better than anyone ever will, and the only life I would have given him would be one full of abuse and neglect. That he never would have been my #1 priority. She argued adoption might not have given that to him either, but I told her it gave him more of a chance than staying with me did. She really didn't like my answers and told me everything I said went against the point of her paper. I told her I couldn't lie, and she asked me why I accepted then. She said I made it seem like adoption is the only option. I told her because there are times when it is the only option. She's mad about it. And my husband told her she came to me and was wrong to be mad at me for answering the questions honestly. She said I made her work harder. Am I the a-hole? And I'm asking because I knew my answers wouldn't be the kind she wants to write about, but I agreed to do this anyway, in part to try and open up her mind. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law is so closed-minded and has tunnel vision for her paper. Yeah, and that's a winning trait to have as a mother. Feel bad for kids. Not the a-hole. She needs to see both sides if she's writing a paper about it. If she is purposefully skewing the data one way, she won't be a very good social worker, as she will ignore what doesn't fit her narrative. She won't be a good or an effective social worker at all. She has this skewed view of adoption. Each case a social worker takes on must be vetted thoroughly to find the best outcome for each family. Sometimes adoption is the best option in these cases. She'll be hurting families instead of helping. I hope she doesn't get hired if she's going to push for kids to stay in abusive homes. It sucks how big of an impact on a person's life can be done just because of someone being hired for a position they were never a good fit for. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my mother-in-law be alone with my baby after what she did? My husband Kyle, 34 male, and I, 31 female, just had our first baby 3 months ago. Since our son was born, my mother-in-law, let's call her Tess, has been overbearing, constantly giving unsolicited advice and making passive-aggressive comments about how I parent. One of the biggest points of contention has been feeding. I'm exclusively breastfeeding, but Tess insists that formula is better because breastfed babies are too clingy. I've told her multiple times that this is our choice, and Kyle has backed me up. Last weekend, my lovely Tess came over to help while Kyle was out running errands. I went to take a quick shower, leaving her with the baby in his crib. When I came back, I saw her holding a bottle and feeding my baby formula. I was in shock. She saw me and immediately said, "See, he's drinking so well. This is why I told you formula is best." I completely lost it. I took my baby from her arms and told her to leave immediately. She started screaming, saying she was just trying to help and that I was being ungrateful. When Kyle came home, he was furious at his mom, but said I might have overreacted by kicking her out so abruptly. Since then, Tess has been playing the victim to the whole family, saying I humiliated her and that I'm keeping her from her grandson. Some family members are saying I should apologize and let her see the baby again, but I don't trust her anymore. So am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Do not leave the baby alone with her. Let her know that she crossed the line, and therefore her privileges of being alone with the baby are revoked. Until she can respect your parenting choices, she doesn't get to be alone with him. Thanks for the advice. Now I'm just ignoring her at my husband's request, so I don't completely turn half the family against me, but I'm definitely not going to let her stay with the baby anymore. She had no business feeding the child something the parents do not approve of. You just don't do that. She was deliberate in her actions. She went and purchased formula in bottles and snuck one in, and as soon as your back was turned, fed the child. This wasn't an oopsies. This was calculated. What if your child developed food allergies down the road? Is grandma going to feed the child the allergen because she knows best? Nope. Not the a-hole. She needs a long time out until she can apologize and take responsibility for her actions. Even then, proceed with caution. I'm exclusively breastfeeding, but Tess insists that formula is better because breastfed babies are too clingy. She is a moron. Have her read a bunch of studies on how carcinogens and toxic stuffs, lead, arsenic, etc., were found in baby formula. Not the a-hole. She is clueless and going to damage that baby's development. Thanks for the encouragement. I am aware of this, which is why I insist on breastfeeding. She reads all these stupid magazine articles and is always trying to prove to me the benefits of formula feeding. I'm betting she herself had trouble with breastfeeding her own babies and is jealous of you or was unwilling to do it for hers and feels guilty. Just a hunch, because her blabbing away about formula being superior to breast milk is nonsense. Not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that you don't lose weight magically after going to the gym? My husband, 33, and I, 24, have been married 2 years, and we have a 16-week-old daughter. Prior to my pregnancy, I was active but not as active as my husband. He is big into fitness and stuff, and I really am not. I just worked out because my doctor told me to. I only ran maybe twice a week and had a Pilates class every Sunday. I weighed 120 pounds before pregnancy. During pregnancy, I gained 40. Lost 20 right off the bat after having my daughter, which my doctor said it's normal through my baby herself, fluid, placenta, all that. And I have been working on losing the last 20. While my body looks different, I don't really care, as I am just glad my baby is so healthy and perfect. However, my husband started mentioning my weight at 2 weeks postpartum, literally. He would say it and frame it in a way that was a compliment, but it wasn't. "Oh, you look so good. You look like a mommy now." Or I wouldn't guess it was a whole 20 pounds, maybe just 10 or so. I just rolled my eyes and told him to stop. Honestly, I didn't care. Those comments happened maybe twice a week, so it was easy to forget. My doctor told me to wait 12 weeks before returning to strenuous exercise, so I did. But the moment I hit 12 weeks, my husband was asking me to come to the gym with him, literally all the time. He was badgering me almost. I did it to make him happy, and he certainly was happy. I will admit it felt good to have some time to myself, and I didn't mind going at all. But now it's been another 4 weeks since then, and I haven't lost any weight but like 2.5 pounds. My husband seems to think this is because I snack too much, and he told me that. I told him I have to. I am breastfeeding. So that started an argument. He told me that I should go back to Pilates to tighten my tummy again. I told him I'd rather die than do that right now, to be honest. He told me, fine then, at least try harder. I told him I am trying my absolute freaking hardest, and you don't just magically lose weight in the gym. He wholeheartedly disagrees with that, and went on a tangent about how he loves me and my body for carrying our baby, but he wants me to still take care of myself for my health. Whatever. I mean, I get that sentiment. A lot of my postpartum appointments centered around my health as well, but it's more things like recovering, sleeping and eating enough, not working out. So, am I the a-hole here? Your husband is a douchebag. I am afraid he is. You're frigging breastfeeding. You need excess calories to feed your child. Your body also doesn't heal all the way till like 9 months postpartum. Tell him to buzz all the way off. It took me 3 years to stop feeling constantly depleted. And the only thing that got me there was that I stopped restricting calories and ate as much as I wanted and needed. OP, there's a super easy way for you to lose like 170 pounds in one fell swoop. Do you know that inside you have a wound the size of a dinner plate that takes 6 months to heal? Your hormones take 1 to 2 years to settle down again, can be even longer if you are breastfeeding. Your body made a whole other body, and some parts of you will literally never be able to be the same size or strength again. Your husband needs to sit down, learn some stuff, and stop being such a pig. You have a daughter. You need to snap him out of this, or think seriously about leaving in the future, because you do not want him to start on your daughter. This is how eating disorders and other similar problems start. Make sure you start planning in case he gets worse and you need to leave. Please OP, listen to this. I grew up with my dad obsessed with my mom staying skinny, and my mom both having and teaching me to have an eating disorder and body image issues. Even if you aren't convinced to do anything about your husband's crappy attitude for yourself, think about what it will do to your daughter growing up in that environment. Do it for her.
Am I the a-hole for not opening the door to my sister's kids? I'm 23, female, and the third born in our 4-kid family. Me, along with my younger brother by 1 year, are child-free as we're not exactly a big fan of kids and get annoyed by them easily. My sister has 2 kids, 5 female and 3 male. They're alright, but their constant screaming and crying gets on my nerves. They're also very spoiled and don't like the word no. I have said many times that I'm not good with kids. I don't really want to look after any as I get annoyed by them easily, but I just got shrugged off. My sister found that trend on TikTok, where parents leave their kids outside of a family member's house, knock on the door and get in the car and only leave when the door opens and leaving the kids there. She finds it funny while I don't. I think it's inconsiderate and also dangerous. My sister laughed at me and said, maybe I'll do this on you. I told her not to because I won't answer the door even if I was inside. She told me that she'll just leave the kids there and I'll be forced to look after them. I said that I still wouldn't open the door and would call the police on her. She just laughed it off. I had a weekend off from work and planned to enjoy it by relaxing in my apartment, where I turned my second bedroom into an art studio and planned to do some art pieces and working on my story. I woke up on Saturday morning quite early and enjoyed the peace and quiet until I got a knock at my door. I have a camera outside of my door facing it just in case something bad happens, and there's an app for it on my phone. I checked and saw that it was my sister's kids. I knew then that she was trying to pull that stupid TikTok trend and got angry, but I kept my word like I told her before and didn't answer the door. More knocks came and my sister tried to call me, and when I didn't answer her, she kept texting me to open the door. I texted her to get her kids and leave, as I told her that I wouldn't look after them and she knew I wanted the weekend to myself. She just kept texting me to open the door. 20 minutes go by, I don't know why she waited that long, and she texted me that she was leaving and for me to open my door to babysit them. I texted her back that if she didn't come back right now, that I'm calling the police. I got no answer from her and called the police. 2 officers came to my house while another 2 tracked down my sister and made her drive to my place. She stomped out of her car, screaming at what a horrible sister I am, and why it's no wonder I am single and will die alone. She finally gets her kids back into her car and drives off, the police following after, and I get back to my weekend off. My sister screamed at our family about what I had done, and there have been mixed reviews, saying that I was entitled to have my time off by myself, and others saying that she's a mother and deserves a break every now and then. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Strangely, I don't have an issue with this. Calling the cops was the nuclear option, but you flat out said what you would do. Yes, your sister might want some time off, but there's a thing for that. It's called hire a sitter. Dropping them off, and for all she knew you weren't even home. Totally irresponsible. You're right. Even if you gave in, she'd be pulling this all the time. In this case, I wouldn't say it's a nuclear option. It's a sensible thing to do to ensure the kids' safety if the mother just flat out left them. I agree on the safety of the kids. It's nuclear in that calling the cops on a family member has permanent ramifications, both in that she now has a record if there's another incident. She deserves a record for leaving her kids unattended outside someone's home when she told her she wasn't going to watch the kids. They are her kids and her responsibility, and she's negligent for leaving them there. There should be a record, and she deserved what she got. Not the home. It's not a question of her needing a break. It's a question about dumping her kids on someone who doesn't want to babysit them. I've heard about this thing. And not only is it incredibly rude, but it can also be dangerous if the parents drive off before the door is opened. Anyway, you told your sister you wouldn't babysit them and you'd call the police if she left. Then you didn't babysit them and you called the police when she left. Seems pretty clear to me that she's the a-hole in this. Who leaves their children with someone who has clearly stated they don't like children and they did not want to look after the children? She seriously needs to have a look at herself. What she did is not okay. You are not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit ever, paid or unpaid? I am the youngest of 4 children at 21. My husband and I are wanting to wait around 4 more years to have children, so I'm not child-free, I just don't have any. I have 12 nieces and nephews. My siblings all have a lot of kids. All of my siblings are also single, divorced, or never married. They have always asked me to babysit, and I've always said no. None of them know how to discipline their kids. Their kids will lie, steal, bite each other, etc., and just being around them is hard. My oldest brother has offered to pay me to babysit, but the other 2 want me to do it for free. I refuse all 3. My entire family thinks I'm an a-hole for never babysitting, so I've told them if I wanted to watch kids, I'd have some. My sister wanted to go on a date the other day and no one would watch her 6 kids. I told her, too bad. She said she'll never find a nice man to settle down with if she can't go out. I said she's delusional. It is not my problem. Am I the a-hole for never babysitting under any circumstances? Edit. When I do have children, I absolutely will not ask any of them to babysit. I'd rather pay a professional. My sister wanted to go on a date the other day and no one would watch her 6 kids. I told her too bad. She said she'll never find a nice man to settle down with if she can't go out. I think I see her problem here. You could probably babysit for her every night for the next year, and I doubt she will find a nice man who wants to settle down with her and her 6 kids. Not the a-hole. LMAO. Yeah, she's a mess. My least favorite sibling. Just out of curiosity, how many fathers between those kids? They each have a different father. You're doing those kids a favor every time you don't help your sister procreate again. Their chances in life are already pretty ruined. Have you at all considered adopting any of these children that are likely living in squalor? I've considered taking my sister's oldest. He's 14, almost 15, and is always forced to watch his younger siblings, 1 to 9 years old. But my sister would never let me take her free babysitter, to be honest. Not the a-hole. It sounds like they should all be investing in a good babysitter, nanny, housekeeper, etc. I've taken care of kids in many different capacities, but there's not enough money in the world to have me babysit 6 kids solo. Well, they all complain because none of them can afford childcare, because of how many kids they have. I do feel bad, but I also feel like they made a choice. Yeah, if they can't afford to have kids or can't afford to take care of their kids, then they should stop having kids. Lol, that's not your fault. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to invite my 9-year-old nephew to my wedding? My fiancé and I both had a discussion and both agreed that we don't want my nephew at our wedding, which will be happening in 2 months. The reason why is because my nephew is out of control. He doesn't listen, can't sit still for even a minute, and is loud. My nephew even ruined my dress. I am a fashion designer and made my own wedding dress. And one day my sister came over and invited with my nephew and niece. I invited them both in, but told them all to not go in my office as I'm working on something in there, which was my dress. My nephew goes in there and cuts my dress with a pair of my fabric scissors on purpose, while I was in the kitchen getting them some snacks and my niece was playing with my daughter. My sister didn't even make him apologize and blamed it on me for leaving my scissor in the open in a room he wasn't even supposed to be in. There have been many times where my nephew been banned from events because of his behavior. My sister has a hard time even getting babysitters for him, and my nephew even gotten suspended from school on multiple occasions. She still hasn't done anything about his behavior. When I told my sister, she freaked out saying that if her son's not allowed to go, then she won't be going. It asked me if I was banning our brother's son as well. She made a Facebook post about how I hate my nephew and I'm not inviting him to my wedding over a dress and complained to our mom. My mom agrees with my sister and says that it's unfair for me to invite my niece, but not my nephew, and that I'm gonna make my nephew feel like there was something wrong with him. My brother agrees with me and thinks it will make my sister think about actually doing something about her son's behavior, rather than pretending like there was nothing wrong. I know how my nephew is, and I don't want his behavior to risk the day I worked so hard in planning. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I think you should accept your sister's offer to not attend. Okay, thanks. Bye. Not the a-hole. And I would respond to her social media posts explaining his age, behavior, and her complete lack of control and discipline of the child. I wouldn't. Most people see through this type of vitriol and it just comes across as immature. I'd be completely silent and let the sister spew. If people ask in private, explain the situation calmly and with remorse. Not the a-hole. And given that your sister covered for your nephew who is way too old to accidentally use scissors on other people's stuff, then having her boycott and protest is fitting. She can make her choice, raise an undisciplined child or not, but you, hopefully, only get one wedding, and you don't need a wild kid messing it up, nor do you need this drama. I had to go back to the title to read his age, and was surprised he was 9. I could picture a 3 to 5-year-old doing that, but at 9? He should have enough self-control. He knew what he was doing and is acting out. Not the a-hole. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to stop seeing my daughter over her sister? I, 56 female, and my husband Kurt, 59 male, have 2 daughters. Ruth, 32, and June, 30. 8 years ago, Ruth split up with her college boyfriend Adam, 32. They'd been together since she was 20 or 21, and it was as serious as a college relationship could be. About 5 years ago, June announced that she reconnected with Adam at some alumni get-together. They'd all gone to the same university and that they are now dating. Of course, Kurt and I were shocked that she would do this despite her sister's history with him. But she insisted that they were in love and she can't help that. And that Ruth and Adam hadn't been together in years, so she hasn't done anything wrong. Ruth understandably was enraged over it. She said she was done with June and would never see her again. This broke me. They were so close growing up, and I prayed every day they'd reconcile. But I accepted they're adults who can make their own choices, and it has nothing to do with us. Kurt and I were also very disappointed with June and told her off many times. But after she proved that there was never any cheating involved while Ruth and Adam were together, things between us settled down. Out of respect for Ruth's feelings, we never brought the girls together again. Ruth and June visit us separately and still aren't on speaking terms after 5 years, but we maintained our relationships with them. Now, June and Adam are married. Ruth has also moved on with a lovely boy. Coincidentally, both girls are expecting their first child. Ruth's due date is a little earlier. I can't put into words how excited we are to be grandparents and adore both these children. I've been supportive and is involved with both our daughters' pregnancy as they want. However, last week Ruth drops a bomb on us. She said that if we ever see June again or her baby, she won't allow us in her child's life. I knew it bothered her that we were still on good terms with her sister, but this shattered me. It's kept me awake every night. The thought of either of my grandchildren being deprived of loving grandparents is agonizing. I know Ruth was deeply hurt by June's actions, but I don't know if we should be punished just for not cutting our kid off. We begged her to reconsider, but she's adamant. I don't want to accept Ruth's terms, but it seems like no matter what we decide, we're going to lose a daughter and grandchild. So I'd rather it not happen because we outright chose it. But I also don't want Ruth to believe we'd just drop her in favor of June because again the thought crushes me. Would I be the a-hole if I don't comply with Ruth's ultimatum? Edited to add, thank you to everyone for commiserating with the situation. I wish I could say it's helped me feel better, but right now it feels like nothing ever will. Entirely too many comments to respond to individually, so I just want to answer some of the most common questions here. Why did Ruth and Adam split up? Ruth left Adam because he was immature and said and did things that irritated her, mostly minor things adding up. She said there was never any abuse nor cheating that she knew of. Did we ever support Ruth at first? Ruth stayed with us for a few months when it first happened. Not just because of this, there were other reasons. And we were there for her and comforted her the whole time. Because she was so angry, we had asked June to not visit until she left, though we still talked to her and met a couple of times in public places. We made it known that this hurt her sister and we were disappointed she didn't think of this. June understood and agreed with us supporting Ruth. She expressed sadness over losing her sister, but we clearly told her it was Ruth's decision to cut her off. Whether one thinks June did nothing wrong or not, it's untrue to say there were never any consequences for this. She's sad to this day that she's lost her sister and knows she has to accept and live with it. Did June ever apologize to Ruth? Both girls have confirmed that June reached out a few times over the years to apologize. No one put her up to it. Ruth didn't forgive her and she's well within her rights not to. We understand no one can make her accept the apology. Why didn't we just cut off Adam? He's June's husband and the father of our second grandchild. They're a package deal now. Once we cut him off, we risk losing June and our grandchild anyway, which is the same as what I'm trying to prevent. Some people have said I'm an a-hole for accepting June after this and that I already chose her by not cutting her off from the start. I'm baffled that anyone would suggest I should disown a child forever over this and act like she was never ours. Not disowning June doesn't mean I chose to be her mother over Ruth. Ruth said she was just fine with how we'd arranged things for the last 5 years. As long as she never had to see June, she was happy seeing us and everything was normal between us. It's only now that she's asking us to choose. Some people have said she should have cut us off from the start because we're awful and toxic. She's said many times she doesn't want to cut us off. She loves us and wants to be involved with her child, but she wants us to choose her over June because June doesn't deserve the same love and care from us. I want to add that if Adam had ever mistreated or cheated on Ruth, we certainly would have gone no contact or at least low contact with them. But that's not what happened, and both girls used to repeatedly tell us that what happened between them had nothing to do with us. Not Daeho. She's just making a final bid for control and using the baby as leverage. What happened to Ruth sucks, but she shouldn't be trying to take out her feelings on you guys, who sound like loving parents. Tell her that you don't like the ultimatum and leave the door open should she change her mind. Kinda weird she's still not over it after 5 years though, especially given the time between both relationships and the fact they're married now. Maybe I'm being naive having never been in a similar situation, but that just sits weird with me. I wonder what Ruth's partner thinks about it, if she has one. She can be over the ex. That doesn't mean she has to be willing to associate with someone who would betray other people in the way she sees the situation. Not Daeho. Tell Ruth that you will never turn your back on any of your children and that she's making the choice to not be a part of your life. Let her know that your door is always open, and as much as it hurts, continue to send cards, Christmas and birthday presents to your grandchild. She will most likely come around, but if she doesn't, you will know that you kept the lines of communication open while respecting her boundaries. I probably sound crazy, but thinking of this almost breaks my heart most of all. I know a few people who've been denied access to their grandkids who do this. The thought of sending gifts, cards, money, photos, etc. that will end up in some dusty box in an attic somewhere that our grandchild may never see absolutely kills me. They'll never know how much we love them and yearn for them. I'd wonder if Ruth would just throw everything away and there wouldn't even be any proof that we sent them or cared at all. If she asks us to stop sending them, we'd have to comply. But even if we get to shower June's child with love, I can never not think of the fact that we don't do the same for Ruth's.